Hi everyone, here's a story that's going to annoy the crap out of, I would hope, most of you, to be quite honest. In the electronic intifada, PayPal censors journalists who criticise Israel. Read a bit of this article for you just to see, exactly what the story is. An operative of Israel's global censorship campaign has admitted to exaggerating claims of anti-Semitism in order to engineer crackdowns on supporters of Palestinian rights. In the latest instance, Benjamin Weintal has apparently succeeded in persuading PayPal to close down the account of French online publication Agency Media Palestine. This constitutes censorship as it denies journalists the means to raise money for their work and retaliates against them for ideas they express. Agency Media Palestine says it is considering legal action. Weintal presents his efforts as reportage for the Jerusalem Post on the actions of companies like PayPal, but what he really does is instigate crackdowns by feeding information, by his own admission distorted, about those he is targeting. Weintal is a research fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, an American neoconservative group that works closely with the Israeli government, and which has attempted to smear the boycott, divestment and sanctions movement for Palestinian rights as linked to Hamas and Iran. Just before I read the next few paragraphs on this, be very wary of any foundation that has democracy or democracies in the title. Be very wary, because in my experience, whenever a foundation, or a country indeed for that matter, has democracy or democratic in their name, they're about as far from democratic as they possibly could be. Carry on reading it. It says this: undercover investigation. The electronic intifada independently verified Weintal's statements, gathering during an undercover Al Jazeera investigation into the activities of the Israel lobby in the United States. Al Jazeera's film of that investigation has yet to be aired due to censorship ordered by the leadership of Qatar, which funds and hosts the network, under intense pressure from the Israel lobby. In March, the Electronic Intifada exclusively reported details of the content of the unaired film. The documentary reveals that the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, where Weintal is a research fellow, has been functioning as an agent of the Israeli government, even though it is not registered to do so, as required by US law. One rule for RT, one rule for Israel. Simavaknin Gil, the Director General of Israel's Strategy Affairs Ministry, is said to state the Foundation is working on projects for Israel, including, quote, data gathering, information analysis, working on activist organisations, money trail. And it goes on to say, Agency Media Palestine is a website that publishes articles on Palestine in French, many translated from sources in other languages, including the Electronic Intifada. The supporters it lists include prominent figures in France, such as the late author and concentration camp survivor Stefan Hessel, Israeli filmmaker Ian Sivan, if I get any of these names wrong, I do apologise, and human rights activist Mirel Fenon Mendes France. On 12th of July, Agency Media Palestine received an email from PayPal's brand risk management department stating, so this is what the email stated, quote, we have recently reviewed your usage of PayPal services, as reflected in our records and on your website. Due to the nature of your activities, we have chosen to discontinue service to you in accordance with PayPal's user agreement. So they haven't given any details as to why. No details whatsoever as to why they've shut down the PayPal account of this organisation. None at all. That should raise alarm bells straight away. The email gives no details of any alleged violations of PayPal's terms of use for its service that allows people around the world to conveniently and inexpensively send money to one another. Due to its market dominance, there are few alternatives to PayPal. That makes life especially difficult for Palestinians in the occupied West Bank and Gaza Strip, who, unlike Israeli settlers, are given no access to the company's service. And then this is the bit about Weintal. This is how, it's disgusting. It really is. It's just rubbing their noses in it. About an hour after it received the 12th of July email from PayPal stating that its account had been shut down, Agency Media Palestine was emailed by Weintel using his Jerusalem Post reporter persona. Quote, your organisation lists PayPal as a donation method, but the payment is blocked, Weintel stated, an hour after they received the email. Did PayPal close your account? If so, what was the reason for the closure? He asked. Feigning ignorance about the matter, he had evidently played a key role in instigating. Is your account in violation of France's anti-discrimination law? He asked. Weintel did not respond to request for comment from the Intifada. Unsurprising. In an article published the following day, Weintel cites unnamed, quote, legal experts to claim that organisations that support the boycott, divestment and sanctions movement are, quote, in violation of the Lelouch law, which makes it illegal to target Israelis based on their national origin. He made the same claim in January after PayPal shut down the account of the campaign group association France-Palestine Solidarity. Israel is a fascist state. It really is. And it's getting worse. And what's worse is not only are they getting worse, the American and UK governments especially are silent. Totally silent on all of this. What does that tell you? What does that tell you where their money is coming from? What does that tell you who they are funded by? What does that tell you? And in America, it's not just the conservatives, the right-wing side, it's the Democrats as well. Chuck Schumer, he applauded, and most of the Democrats applauded, recognising Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And obviously all this is coming out just after, as this states in The Guardian, Israel in turmoil over bill allowing Jews and Arabs to be segregated. This is apartheid. And just in case you weren't aware, and I'm sure you are, apartheid is against international law. We have to stand up against this. We have to. Because if we don't, who's next? Think about it. Who's next? They're going after, news organisations in France. What's next? Is this channel going to be next? Is this channel going to be shut down? You have to wonder. The power of the Israel lobby is massive, and we have to fight back against it. And as mentioned in the article, boycott, divest and sanctions, this movement, I think, is the only way we can do it. We have to shout and scream. We have to write to our representatives. We have to tell them. We have to protest. This is not on. These inhumane acts they are doing on Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza. We have to stand up for these people because there's nobody else who will. There's nobody else who's going to stand up for them. We have to do it. And when I say boycott, divest and sanction, I don't just mean the governments. Because the first part of that we can do. We can boycott Israel. We can boycott Israeli products. Now, I'm not one for boycotting stupid stuff like Ivanka Trump's clothing line or anybody who keeps it. I'm not one for doing that. But this is something I think we all should do. I do it already, and I have done for quite some time. Ever since 2 weeks after I started this channel, so about 5 months now, since I became fully aware of it, really, of the horrors that Israel is perpetrating on Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza. You do it yourself. There are major brands of potatoes, for instance, that I will not buy. My mom thinks I'm nuts. Every little thing helps. So there is something you can do, and we need to put pressure on our governments and our representatives to hold this right-wing ideological apartheid state accountable for its actions and its crimes. It's the only way we're going to get any joy with Israel, and it's the only way we're going to even put any pressure on them to stop what they're doing. Otherwise, it's going to get worse. Mark my words, it's getting worse month on month right now. It's going to keep getting worse and keep getting worse unless we stand up against this apartheid state. And it starts with you. Boycott Israeli products. Check. I'll probably do a video next week, it'll be now, on just what sort of products to look out for that generally come from Israel. But we have to do it. We just have to. Because if we don't stand up for Palestinians, if we don't stand up and stand against Israel, if we don't stand up for these French media organisations who are having their livelihoods cut off by PayPal, who've got a history, by the way, of caving to lobbying, WikiLeaks, for instance, caving to governments. If we don't stand up for them, who's going to stand up for me? Who's going to stand up for you when they come for us because we've spoken out against Palestine? Spoken out against Israel. I think this is something we all have to do. It's our civic duty. Boycott, divest, sanction. Say it loud. If you enjoyed this video, please click the bell down there and subscribe so you get a notification of next time I drop a video. Also, I can't do this without your help, so if you can afford it and you enjoy my videos, please support the channel by subscribing to my Patreon. Link is down there. You can do it for as little as $1 a month, and it really does help. If you can't afford it, that's fine. Please share my work and talk to other people about the issues that I bring up. Thanks very much for your support. Until next time, peace and take care.